What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I cover everything you need to know about Beam, thanks to the request by my lovely community, and in particular, Nicholas Blue 9889 2 days ago. Would love to see a new video on Beam. So here you go, brother. And to the rest of the brothers and sisters in the community, I'm going to do a deep dive here. Of course, after that, we've got a request for Flare, and of course, Aerodrome Finance is mentioned up there as well. But let's talk about Beam. Now, of course, gaming is not and has not been in season in the last entire cycle. And I'm talking about the cycle that just finished in 2025. However, because we are at the depths of these bear markets and there is hardly any attention, are these gaming coins dead? Can we benchmark Beam to Ronin and IMX? I think these are the three realistic, kind of hyper massive L1s in the crypto space. So, well, let's look into Beam and, of course, Merit Circle DAO, technology behind in terms of its finality, Layer-1 upgrade into other chains, the full ecosystem stack, how many games are on Beam, the tokenomics and supply. That's going to be quite key because the economy of dilution is probably the key protocol here, or key metric to watch. Price outlook, of course, key catalyst, and so forth and so forth. Do your own research. None of this is financial advice, of course. The Beam treasury is another way of showing how much firepower they have, and that always gets more people in. But is it a trap, or are we looking at a genuinely undervalued blockchain that can go and do the crazy, crazy numbers that its market cap deserves? Even at $30 or $3 billion, this was once touted at $10 billion market cap, but even at $3 billion right now, it is going to return a significant price appreciation if there is any hint of speculation about crypto gaming. Now, of course, what we must do first, we must understand what the whales are doing, okay? We follow the whales, the chances are you're going to get away from the bump fluff analysis that says, okay, Beam is there, so I'm hyper bullish on that. As you understand, no crypto is bullish, and no crypto is, in fact, a lot of crypto are bearish, but no single crypto is bullish without understanding money flow, okay? So I'm giving you an inside overview of exactly what's going on in Beam. So $100 million market cap, $115 million fully diluted. Unbelievable. Circulation is absolutely brilliant. 87.77% is now officially in circulation. Of course, total supply would be 58 billion. And this is now deployed since 2023 October. That's when the migration happened. And of course, they still have decent DEX liquidity. Now, the holders 35,000 is not bad at all in a bear market, but this is a established cryptocurrency by any consideration. So what are we doing on chain? Total volume. So this is DEX. So you can see 49,000. DEX is normally lower anyway. Buy volume 23, sell pretty balanced, slightly more sell pressure than buys. Unique buyers, of course, 8, unique sellers 15. Trading activity is relatively low, slightly bearish tilt, more sellers than buyers. Of course, this is all in the short term. Top 3 hold concentration control of 39%. Now, I've seen wild things this, in this cycle. I've seen 97%, 98%. So it is concentrated, but not by the biggest that I've ever seen in terms of that number there. And Binance reserves address has 13, nearly 14%. So they need to obviously market make this. That's over 200 million. 259 million plus over the last 7 days. They've obviously reduced the 8.2 reserve address. Sorry, they have 8.2 billion, which is crazy, really. And then of course you got the multi-sig with 12, and then you've obviously got notable fund holdings. You've got Maven and OP Crypto. These two funds hold 1% each of the total supply, and it's really key to understand these kind of dynamics when you're looking at a cryptocurrency like this. Exchange holdings, multiple centralized exchanges hold a significant amount. Binance, Upbit, Kraken, of course, Crypto.com, and so forth. And exchange wallets, relatively low, I would say. Small net inflows, about $3,000 worth. 2 active wallets that are selling. And low activity, very thin in terms of the volume. Concentration risk, top 3 address. 39% is not the worst, but I'm sure that's bad enough for some people. And in terms of these are all short-term metrics, by the way. Okay. So we are looking at short-term metrics here. Now, in terms of my overall strategy for something like a Beam, I would have to say, yes, it's undervalued, but the narrative itself is the risk. Now, if you believe gaming is going to return, it's not a risk, right? If you believe gaming has every right to return, then of course buying in the bear market is the only rational thing you can do. Now, in order for you to really see what's going on with the smart money wallets and what traders are doing, you're gonna have to do like deep dives. And again, our community, normally I provide this level of analysis, but we can actually look into many different aspects of the token, see who's buying it, what funds are buying, what whales are selling. And it kind of just gives you an overall conviction. But there is competition in gaming. So keep that in mind. However, based on where it is, based on the type of money that they have, based on the market makers that are involved, I honestly believe this is one that you can DCA into, 5, 10 million tokens, 4 million, a million tokens right now is about $1,900. This is one that would absolutely pump in a gaming narrative. Now, of course, what you need to be careful about is when you see kind of large notable wallets and funds kind of like going for this and holding it in the long term, you've got to really, really take into account what it means for the price long term. Now, a chart like this, right? If you look at the chart, we've had decent amount of pumps at various gaming seasons, 2023, sometime in December 2024. Ever since then, it's been on a massive, massive downtrend. So what tends to happen, there are marginal sellers amongst holders, but liquidity remains strong, okay? Liquidity remains strong, market cap remains relatively low, and despite the fact that we've seen the volume being relatively low for $100 million, it's about $6 million in terms of the entire collective DEX and SEX volume. But what is the risk, you may ask? What is the risk here with this chart? I don't see a risk here. I do not see, when I see price discovery to the downside, what it means is 2 things. One, would I wait for the price to come back into a level that I'm interested again? But by the time often you do that, there is no, basically, there's nothing else that you can do. when the prices go as low as this, right? We have an all-time low historically, and we've gone into price discovery to the downside. So right now, you are buying the narrative. You're saying to yourself, there's a narrative that has never kicked off. What will big money do in order to absolutely make life-changing money from projects like this? And guess what? That's what big money does. Now, I'm not promising you that it goes and does that 30, 50x, but it can do based on a $100 million valuation. And if you're buying the chart, well, it's very clear. You have the all-time lows. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. It's fallen below that. It's gone into new price discovery. It's moved sideways. But I think this is an opportunity. From an on-chain metric standpoint, look, bots are involved, buying and selling, market making. You have some whales that are holding this long term, buying and selling and transferring out. TO, that's what TO means here. Okay. But I believed in this with a bigger market cap. And I think this will return And no, anybody who says they're not going to speculate on gaming and run a gaming season out of this world is absolutely talking nonsensical. So we come to a conclusion here about Beam. But before I do that, what are the things that are going relatively well for Beam? Okay. By the way, guys, follow me on DXB at DXB Crypto 1-to-1. Would love to see all of you giving us support over there. And I do put a lot of decent stuff out there. So yeah, join the community there. Just follow me on X. I think that's all you need to do. So what are we looking at here? What are we looking at in terms of price, opportunity to the upside? And we're not going to talk about Axie Infinity because more often than not, people look at charts and then they say, okay, this is what's going on right now. So TVL is $1 million. Okay. Total raise, $74 million. Current TVL is $1 million. And that $1 million is concentrated on a single chain. Of course, it's got Inferno Swap there as a DEX as well, but $1 million TVL for Beam. I mean, I remember when Beam was well above that. So from a metric standpoint, it's still holding TVL, but it's not really, of course, it's not what you think, right? The entire market is going through a crazy time. So risk assets, gaming, all of that stuff has taken a backseat. But can we make good money? And can we sit on our conviction here? And what is the team doing to be able to sustain that? So Beam is a sovereign layer 1 blockchain backed by Merit Circle DAO. You know that. It has 180 games, full ecosystem of tools. Gaming has become, it's going to be kind of interesting. Again, Gonzilla on-chain is doing incredibly well. Lots of players, but that's not translating into the governance token. But this is actually, from a utility standpoint, it's not just a governance token. It has a slightly better utility here. Okay, and that is going to be quite key. So you can use the Beam token for several different utilities. Governance is just one of them. Okay, so the blockchain we know has speed. It's built on Avalanche, and it has launched the Sphere market, which is quite key. Marketplace, of course, and that's now officially on here on the Beam website. And so all of that looks like it's still relatively doing rather well. The backend's still there. They raised decent money from Abu Dhabi. It's EVM compatible. Supply unlocks are limited risk in terms of the circulating. It has the layer 1 independence with Etna upgrade, which is just obviously a technological milestone. It's also a narrative milestone. Beam is no longer a subnet. Okay, it is a sovereign chain. People need to understand that. So this obviously repositions how institutional players and funds perceive Beam in the future. Okay, price has been absolutely diabolical. That's okay. A lot of people made money while prices were diabolical. So utility breakdown, transaction. So the Beam token is used to pay activity across the network. Very good. It's also a governance token. They can vote on protocols and, of course, make decisions. Staking validation, and they can earn rewards and in-game economy. So it's a far more stronger token overall. But they're still pumping out updates. The team is pretty much there, live and kicking. The biggest problem is you don't have any significant volume right now. No interest. This used to be around 500 to a billion in valuation with 80 to 100 million in daily volume. Crypto volumes have gone through the roof. So I do believe a minimum of 30 times your money or even more could be available at Beam. And who are the competitors? So I'll give you some competitors for prospects. For a large EVM compatible layer 1, I think you've got to look at Ronin. You can see all the gaming charts have actually exactly carbon copy pumps. And by the way, I've only become interested into this based on the market performance right now. So we know, of course, don't, because it's so cheap. Beam is cheap. You probably got a generational bag for Beam. I think you could also, keep something else as a benchmark. Volume almost identical, market cap very similar, and of course, this is another one with a 5 million in TVL. Ronin was also out of reach, but Ronin has become even more kind of available now during this recent crash. And again, purpose built for gaming, battle tested. This is one of the other, of course, benchmarks in the industry. And I'm going to give you one more, which is, of course, the ultimate benchmark in gaming, which is Immutable X. And between them, Immutable X right now, again, when market gets going, these dips will be eaten up and these will go ridiculous. But if you look at this, again, it has a smaller TVL than Beam. It is perceived to be the gold standard in gaming. But right now, yes, it is the biggest, largest gaming coin by market cap. You've got a fully diluted valuation here of 355 million. Trading volume, double that of or combination of Beam and Ronin. TVL is less than both of them. Of course, tokenomics is disadvantage, has slightly more disadvantage. So these are the three that normally go side by side. But I do love Beam, and I think Beam accumulation is relatively straightforward from here. You're buying dead charts and you're buying hopeful narratives. Not going to tell you anything different until you wake up one morning and you see crypto absolutely melting up. So you do have time to accumulate, but you've got to do your 100% research when it comes to these projects. But honestly, if you just monitor the top 3 gaming projects, I do believe you stand a very good chance in making incredible amount of money from this. Let's not get it twisted in any other way. So Beam's my favorite. I am not adverse to looking at, for example, the likes of Ronin as a larger layer 1. IMX as well. I'm not adverse to looking at any of those. Some of them I will trade, but Beam, I would love to continue to build a generational bag. However, the conviction has to be measured with the market. You don't go and just buy $50,000 in one go. You go and buy DCA into small amounts, maybe accumulate a couple of million tokens, and you're good to go. All right. Beam AI is available. I mean, they've been updating regularly in terms of posts, and nothing too dramatic. Of course, like I said, the major upgrade was already done. So there you have it. Doing anything right now? No. Are you buying a future narrative that is dormant right now? Absolutely. Would I guarantee you go and do that 30x? This is crypto after all. But how many times do they say crypto dies and it comes back and does an absolutely crazy melt up? So these are opportunities of a lifetime. Pace yourself. Oil is expensive. Crude oil index funds in the US is now over $134. You've got, FOMC. You've got many things, many opportunities, but take advantage of this time to build conviction and buy what you have to. All right? Catch you on the next one, guys.